Well, I don't really know where to start. I thought I'd seen some absolute rubbish on YouTube about UFOs and whatever, but what have you. But I've done a video on Randy Kramer and Simon Parkes, and I think Peter Paget got a mention. And I thought there are some real bloody idiots and lunatics out there. But the other day I came across David Wilcock and Cory Goode, and I really couldn't believe what I was hearing. I couldn't believe anyone would have the front to present such absolute garbage. I know David Wilcock, really, they know that they're presenting rubbish, they're just making money out of it, because right at the beginning David Wilcock said, look at this big crowd. Who would believe so many people would be crazy enough to come and see us speak? But still, if you're crazy enough to come and see us, we're going to put on a good show for you. Now just think about that for a second. We're going to put on a good show for you. So they know they're putting on a show. It's all complete fabricated rubbish. David Wilcock presents pictures from Dr. Ken Johnson. Well, Ken Johnson likes to be photographed in boiler suits with NASA patches on them and Mars One patches on them. Mars One, as everybody knows, is a con, isn't real. Dr. Ken Johnson's PhD isn't real. He's got a doctorate in metaphysics from some Baptist church, and somebody had contacted the Baptist church to find out what sort of qualification this was, and they said it was a novelty qualification. People shouldn't be using the title doctor, and they shouldn't be putting PhD after their names. So put a line through Ken Johnson, or Johnston, whatever his name is. He's just a nutcase, water bitty type. He was a tech at Grumman that did a bit of work on the systems on some of the Apollo spacecraft, I believe, but certainly had nothing whatsoever to do. You see him pictured in space suits and all this, and he's certainly no doctor, and he's certainly no astronaut. Now, David Wilcock was presenting these photographs that were submitted by Ken Johnson. He said, oh, look at all this glass in the background, whatever they shot this against. It's absolute rubbish. They're not original photographs. They're copies. They're scanner artifacts. And he's saying, oh, look at this, it's all this huge miles high curtain of glass or whatever it is. Absolute rubbish. I can't believe people paid money to go and listen to that drivel. I think Cory Goode, the charismatic Cory Goode, the moon's covered in debris, and he's been to Mars, and he's been age regressed, and he was away for 20 years working on the secret space fleet, or in the secret space fleet, and even his mother wouldn't know he was away doing it. Well, who would have picked that? I mean, wakey people. I mean, how gullible would you have to be to even consider any of that absolute garbage to be real? A secret space fleet, bases on Mars, a war on the moon. Well, against who? Why would aliens come all the way from another star system to fight us on the moon? Just think about that for a second. Even assuming we could get anything like a realistic fighting force to the moon. These little DART spacecraft look very much like the things from the television series V. The only real difference is that the ones on the television series V are slightly larger. They're sort of large enough that they could incorporate some sort of propulsion system. Cory Goode's spacecraft are very much like a front-wheel drive car. There's no room. There's There's what was it, 5 seats in it, and a tapered off nose. Absolutely no room for any propulsion equipment, no room for any landing gear. And if you just listen to what he says, it's just, you know, why was he picked? It's just absolute rubbish. I mean, I'd heard that Max Spears stuff, and not much of it. I can't take much of it. I watched some of that Miles Johnston's channel, and if you do watch that, I know Miles Johnston says don't believe it, just watch it and make your own mind up. But I mean, he's just providing a platform for people to tell their story, so he can make money out of it, basically. He admitted as much quite recently. He said, you know, he's had to go and get a proper job since the donations have stopped coming in, and presumably the revenue from the YouTube channel's down a bit as well. But he's providing a platform for all these clowns and lunatics to come and tell their story, simply because he makes money out of it, I suspect. I'll have to watch another one of his videos and see if there's commercials on there. There probably is. But put a line through Miles Johnston's Bases channel. It's absolute garbage. You're not going to see anything worthwhile on that. And yeah, Cory Goode, David Wilcock, just the latest couple of members in a long line of, you know, absolute garbage shovelers. So yeah, just don't waste your money on David Wilcock or Cory Goode. Similarly, Randy Kramer, Stephen Greer. You know, Stephen Greer is always talking about disclosure. He's never disclosed anything in the 20 years he's been talking about disclosure. All he's been doing is making very good money out of it. Oh, excuse me. And he keeps telling people that he's briefed the director of the CIA. Well, he forgets to mention too. He omits to mention, rather, that this was back in the 90s, I think. And he actually had dinner with the director of the CIA and his wife and a couple of others. And the director of the CIA and the people that were at the dinner have all signed a letter to say they didn't agree with anything he had to say. It certainly was not a briefing. It was just dinner time chit-chat. So, you know, he's just a fantasist. He's a Walter Mitty character. He put on one of his videos a poorly lit shrub, it looked like to me, and said it was an alien ambassador materialising. I mean, come on, people, wake up. All this is absolute garbage. It's just people making a buck out of the gullibility of others. And I'll tell you what, if you go along to see Stephen Greer or David Icke or any other people at the Bases conference, or Simon Parkes, or I can't even say Simon Parkes without laughing, or Randy Kramer, you know, Wilcock or Goode, just save your money and forget about it, because it's all absolute rubbish. Just ask yourself why they use illustrations. You know, ask yourself how realistic any of this sounds. They're very good at providing all these illustrations. Randy Kramer showed an illustration of an alien he said he met, and it turned out to be a rip-off of an image from DeviantArt, the DeviantArt website. I suspect if I looked around I could probably find these blue avians of Cory Goode somewhere. But especially these days, you know, everybody's got a camera with a phone in it, and you know, it would have been very, very easy to get pictures, wouldn't it? I mean, people that get visited by aliens regularly, where's the pictures? Why illustrations? Because it's not happening, that's why. It's not going to be. We're not going to be fighting aliens on the moon. We're not going to be fighting aliens on Mars. If aliens wanted to take this planet, we wouldn't be fighting aliens here. Because they would just take the planet biologically. They put they spray some sort of bioweapon in the atmosphere. In 3 days, the entire population of the planet would be dead. It'd be their planet. job done and dusted. There wouldn't need to be a shooting war between us and alien species. If they've got the technology to get here, they've got the technology to get rid of us. They've probably conquered, if they want to come here and conquer this planet, they've probably conquered plenty before. And with our limited, although we're getting good, with our limited technology, you know, we're a planet-bound species, realistically we are. Okay, we've been to the moon, but you know, we're still barely in the nursery of space travel. If some aliens can get here with starships, and armed starships that they use for expanding their colony, they'll be equipped with all this sort of bioweapon stuff. May very well be why people are abducted. There may be some truth to that. People getting abducted around the planet. Take DNA samples so they know how to make a bioweapon to kill everybody on the face of the earth. Every race on the face of the earth. Just by spraying something into the atmosphere. Sort of makes sense. So, you know, they could just come here in a couple of starships, spray some stuff in the atmosphere, boom, done, dusted, all gone. That's how it would be done. So we're not going to be fighting aliens on Earth, we're not going to be fighting aliens on the moon, we're not going to be fighting aliens on Mars. Get a grip, people. It's all absolute garbage. Just remember, Cory Goode, David Wilcock, you know, Peter Paget, Stephen Greer, David Icke, Randy Kramer, Simon Parkes. There's probably many others I can't remember off the top of my head, but just save your money. Put a line through it. It's absolute garbage. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.